Martin is the most well-known name in roller chain sprockets in the US. That leadership position is what caused us to select Martin for this product comparison. There are several differences between Martin and Blackstar sprockets. This video will examine those differences to reach a verdict about the quality of each brand. Let's begin by examining characteristics of roller chain drives. With roller chain drives, the small sprocket always rotates at a higher speed. Each tooth engages the chain more frequently and is subjected to a greater load. This makes the smaller sprocket more susceptible to damage and wear. Martin sells both sintered and solid steel sprockets. However, when examining their catalog, you may notice that certain important specifications are omitted. Martin simply refers to their sprockets as all steel, and they do not differentiate between sintered or solid steel. When you order a sprocket from Martin, you don't know which you'll receive. All Blackstar sprockets are made from solid steel. There's no mystery. Sintered sprockets are formed from powdered metal. These sprockets are cheaper to produce, but are prone to cracking, fracturing, and are difficult to machine. Because the sintering process makes it difficult to produce large items, only smaller sprockets are made of sintered steel. Blackstar submitted both a Martin sintered steel and Blackstar solid steel sprocket to an independent test lab. We were astonished at the results. Increasing force was applied to individual sprocket teeth until they reached their breaking point. The force required to break a sintered tooth was not even close to that required to break a solid steel one. Unfortunately, these sintered sprockets are usually used in the most vulnerable part of a chain drive. On average, a sintered tooth broke at 1,606 pounds of force. In contrast, it took 7,280 pounds of force to break a Blackstar solid steel tooth. That's an incredible 353% difference. Sintered steel is less dense than solid steel. Compare these unretouched photos. On the left is a Martin 60BS19 HT, straight out of the box. Notice the porosity in the gullets where the chain rollers ride. On the right is a Blackstar H60BS19. Which sprocket would you want your chain riding on? Which would you be willing to pay more for? Density plays a major role in wear resistance. Because the sintering process makes a product that is more porous, Martin's sintered steel sprockets are more susceptible to wear. Blackstar solid steel sprockets are 12% more dense. They are more wear resistant. Solid steel sprockets are not prone to this sort of breakage. Because Martin does not specify a material for their solid steel sprockets, Blackstar conducted further testing by sending a Martin sprocket for metallurgical analysis. The lab found that the sprocket was made of AISI 1025 steel. All Blackstar sprockets are made of 1045 steel. 1045 is harder and stronger than 1025. The Brinell hardness of 1045 is 163. The Brinell hardness of 1025 is 111. This increased hardness is particularly important in large sprockets that rarely come with hardened teeth, except by special order. 1045 will outlast 1025. The ultimate tensile strength of 1045 steel at 84,800 psi far exceeds that of 1025 at 55,100 psi. To sum it up, small sprockets have a big job, and they need the strength to do it. Martin sells sintered steel sprockets on sizes up to about 5 inches in diameter. However, every Blackstar sprocket is made of solid 1045 steel. There's simply no question about which is tougher. When comparing sintered sprockets to solid steel sprockets, Blackstar definitely wins. Martin's larger sprockets, made of 1025 steel, are not as strong or wear resistant as Blackstar sprockets, which are all made of 1045 steel. Even when comparing solid steel to solid steel, Blackstar wins again. Unless you pay a premium, Martin sprockets are sold without hardened teeth. Depending on the size, this premium can be somewhere around 50%. On the other hand, Blackstar solid steel sprockets come standard with induction hardened teeth on the sizes that need them most. Blackstar does not take a backseat to Martin on any aspect of quality. It is quite the opposite. For the buyer who is more concerned with the quality of the product than the brand name stamped on it, Blackstar is the obvious choice.